Welcome to AutoInstruct. In today's video, we're going to show you how to install Burger Motorsports JB4 on a MK7 Golf R. Now the JB4 is very similar to JB1. You've got the three exact same engine loom plugs onto the engine. However, there's two new connections as well. One's to the O2 harness, which we connect using a PosiTap, and the second is into the cabin and connected to your OBD 2-port under the steering wheel. Now we are recycling some of our videos from our JB1 installation tutorial, so keep that in mind when I mention the words JB1 in the video. Now when installing each connector, you want to make sure you take the neatest path possible to make it look good. So here we have a JB1 loom for the map sensor. Now to remove the map sensor, you simply push down on the tab and pull backwards, like so. Then you get one side of your JB1 loom and make sure it's the correct orientation, which is this way in our case. Plug it in until you hear the click, and then we'll get the other side and plug it into the map sensor down here. So again, push it in, hear the click, and with this one, push in the grey tab after you've heard the click to secure it in. And then we can just tuck this down the side to make sure the engine cover goes back on correctly. Looking down the front of the engine, here's the second connector we need to plug in. There's two connectors here, we're going for the lower one. Now for this, we need to slide it out of the bracket that it's sitting in to help bring it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out, and sorry for blocking your view. So pulling it towards the front of the car, it will slide up and out of the bracket that it's in. Now to disconnect this connector, on the back side there is a tab. So we push down on the tab and pull it apart, like so. There we have it separated. And then feed your JB1 loom neatly down under anything that you need to go underneath of. And again, go ahead and connect it. Now, this is a D-shaped plug, as you can see here. One side's flat, one side's round. So it's relatively easy to match up. And apologies for blocking your view here. So we'll go ahead and connect the first connector in. Small click. And then I'll be flipping it over and installing the next connector. Is like so. In now. Now this original connector, which is the OEM side that's close to the engine, can now be slid back into the bracket that's down there, and then anything else can be cable tied up neatly. And then we'll move on to the bottom plug, which is located at the bottom of the engine. So we'll feed that plug straight down here, down the front of the engine, and we'll go ahead and crawl under the car and connect it. So access plug D, we need to remove this splash shield. Now to do this, there's 8 or so Torx screws, 3 on that side, 1 here, and then 4 down this side. And once that's done, we simply release this clip and pull the splash shield out. And then we can access plug D, which is located just above here. So here we have our two JB1 plugs, which have dropped down from the front of the engine, staying away from the radiator fans. And we're going to run them across here into plug D. So plug D is located just up here, which you can see here. That there is plug D. And to release it, the easiest way to do it is to drive a screwdriver gently into the end here and push on it, and then the plug will be released. Now we've already gone ahead and done that, so pull the plug off, and then we'll go ahead and connect our JB1 plugs. So now we're going to connect the blue wire, which you can see here, which we have just put in a bit of conduit, to the red wire on the O2 harness. So to do this, we're going to pull back on the rubber sleeve to reveal some extra cable. Then we're going to get the grey connector from the PosiTap, and this simply slips over the wire like that. So we're just going to come back just a little bit further. There we go. Then we get the point in the PosiTap and screw it in position. As you screw this in, this is actually just piercing the sheath of the cable. And just tighten up so it's snug like that, and it will be well and truly pierced. Then we loosen up the other end. Careful not to lose it, and it doesn't need to come out all the way. Then we will get our blue cable. That simply gets pushed into the end. Push in all the way, and push and screw up the connector at the same time. Once that's screwed in, give it a light tug to make sure it's in position, and you're good to go. Then we'll simply cable tie this up nicely, and then we're going to run the OBD connector into the cabin. So here we're in a right-hand drive vehicle, so we've got a longer OBD cable than the US markets will have. So we're going to plug in the OBD connection, which is under the steering wheel. It's a purple plug, very easy to find. Once that's plugged in, we're going to run the cable over the top of the pedals, making sure they're not touching anything, across the passenger side, and over there behind the air conditioning box, you'll find a loom that runs into the engine bay, and within that there's a spare grommet at the bottom, which is used to run this cable to the JB4. We've got another guide on how to run through that loom, which we'll link in the description below. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and then we'll show you in the engine bay what's next. So we'll just run the cable through the spare grommet behind the battery here, and we've come up along the side here, next to the JB, and we simply plug it into the Molex connector here. Once that's plugged in, we'll just tuck it away, and the JB is now ready to run. Thanks for watching today's video on how to install a JB4 in a MK7 Golf R. Now in the coming months we will head down to the dyno and do some runs, so please subscribe to keep an eye out for this video. For more guides, products and tutorials, head over to AutoInstruct.com.au.